Hey, hope you're doing well. Uh, I wanted to read my favorite section of my new book, Love Slows Down, is actually section 3. It's called How to Create Space. And I've been talking to a lot of people. They're like, man, everything has changed. I'm trying to find this new balance in my life. So I thought I'd read you the first chapter of section 3, which is called Choose What to Lose. And maybe it'll be a little help to you. You can have it in the background listening as you're working today or driving home. Chapter 9, Love Slows Down, Choose What to Lose. A traveler is happier the lighter his load. Marcus Felix. Most of the people who go on expeditions with me have never done a major hike before, which is what I want. I'm not looking for people who are all wildernessy and willing to chop off their arm with a Swiss Army knife to survive. Those people would really be out of place on my teams. Plus, I don't want them around. They'll make me look like a wimp. Because the people in my groups are all first-timers, they're usually really concerned about having the correct gear. I get tons of texts and emails asking exactly what they should bring. So before our trips, I give them a packing list and have them watch a video I recorded about how to pack for a hike. I show them exactly what to bring. I show them what I bring, and I want them to feel confident without overpacking. But most team members still bring way too much with them. Some commission-based salesman at the outdoor store probably saw them coming and convinced them they needed every gadget possible or they'd die on a mountain. So they show up for the hike loaded down with gear. And this is a serious problem. A pack that's too heavy will wear you out, and you won't be able to successfully complete the hike. So the night before we leave for the trail, I'll often do a gear weigh-in. I set a weight goal for their bag. If it's too heavy, I have them start pulling stuff out of it. This process gets highly emotional in a hurry. People get really sensitive about their stuff. I've seen grown men, CEOs of large organizations, nearly in tears when I have them leave some things behind. Some folks even get angry at me. One girl who I wouldn't let bring a hairdryer on a trail that had no electricity was mad at me for days. As I lighten their loads, I can feel the fear in their faces. I can see the fear in their eyes, but I know they'll get over it. Usually by the second day of the hike, those same people thank me for making them lighten their loads. They realize just how hard the hike would have been with all the extra weight. I'm convinced that nobody intends to overpack. It happens slowly, little by little. We're afraid of not having something we may need, so we just take everything. It's wise to prepare, but you can't prepare for everything. We end up overloaded and tired. By the way, I'm not talking about packing for a trip anymore. I'm talking about life. Life is like a long hike. And most of us are walking along with a pack that is way too heavy. We're all doing our best to provide for our families and give them the opportunities we never had. We figure if we can just get a little more, we'll have everything we need. But slowly, little by little, we get overloaded. Our finances are overloaded. We spend everything we make and more. Our time is overloaded. Work deadlines, overtime, kids' sports schedules. Our energy is overloaded. I heard someone say the world is run by tired people. Basically, yes. Like a hiker picking up rocks along the trail, thinking we might need them at some point to throw at a bear or a lion, we take on more and more. A lot of what we add to our load is actually good stuff, opportunities, relationships, but as the weight builds, we feel overwhelmed, like we're carrying around a giant pack. We're strong, but not that strong. We end up tired and dread every day saying, again, I'm tired and I can't carry all this anymore. At some point, we have to slow down, maybe even stop, and really look at what we're bringing with us. We have to figure out if all the stuff we're carrying is helping us or hindering us in getting to where we want to be. At some point, we have to decide to leave a few things behind. Love slows down to choose what to lose. Define the destination. We all have an idea in mind of what the good life looks like. We have a destination in mind. Sometimes we get those ideas from how we were raised. Other times we get them from other people to should want life. We may never write it down or say it out loud, but we all have a picture of what having security, connection, or control looks like. A nice home, a loving marriage, kids who go further than we did in education or work. It's good to have a goal. You need something to aim at. King Solomon said, where there is no prophetic vision, the people cast off restraint. A prophetic vision is just a mental picture of where you want to go. And if you don't know where you're going, it's really easy to cast off restraint and just take everything, even things you don't really need. When you know where you want to go, you'll know what to pack and what not to pack. You don't pack flip-flops to climb through the snows of Mount Kilimanjaro. You don't take a warm goose-down parka for hiking through the Amazon. Life is no different. When you know where you want to go, it's a lot easier to know what to bring with you and what needs to be left behind. When we've decided where we want to go in life, we start packing accordingly. We fill our lives with whatever promises to get us the security, connection, or control we want for our families and ourselves. Anything that you believe will get you where you want to go has value to you. Value is very important. But if we aren't careful, we can add so much to our lives that we actually start to weigh ourselves down. Rather than improve our chances of getting us to our destinations, without realizing it, we can actually hinder our ability in the long run. So to do a good gear check for your life, you need to start by looking at what you value. A question of values. I hear this line a lot. Man, I really want to travel more, but it's so expensive. How can you afford to travel so much, Joel? They look at my beat up 15 not rolling in money. They are correct. But that old car is a big part of the reason I can afford to travel so much. Having a nice new car isn't that important to me, but travel is. So rather than making a car payment every month, I take what would have been spent on the payment and divide it up into savings, a little for travel and a little for when I'll need a new, older car. Emily and I both value travel. We decide to live in a house that is worth way less than what we can afford. When we travel, we do it cheaply. We travel with friends and split costs. In fact, we can do a 2-week trip to Europe for what most people spend on 4 months of car payments. We value travel more than having a new car, so we do whatever it takes to scrimp and save to do it. Listen, there's absolutely nothing wrong with having a nice, dependable vehicle. Honestly, sometimes we do get a little jealous of people with nice, shiny cars with no dents in them. There's nothing wrong with having a big, beautiful, expensive home. It's just that travel is more important to us than those things, so we put our money, time, and energy toward travel. We all have certain things we value. Travel, a nice home, secure job, loving relationships, respect. Values are unique to each person, and there are an unlimited number of things you can value. Some of our values are learned through how we were raised. Some are just adopted without much question based on the society or culture we live in. And the truth is, many of our values come from doing whatever it takes to make sure the thing we fear the most doesn't come upon us. We may not be sure exactly what we want, but we run as fast as we can away from those things. When we live in fear, we tend to value whatever will remove the fear that threatens us. So we naturally give our time, money, and energy to those things that we believe will get us where we want to go or keep us away from what we fear the most. That's part of what Jesus was talking about when he said, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. If you want to know where your heart is set on, look at where you spend your time, money, energy, your treasures. In other words, our actions always show what we truly value. If you want to know what you really value, look at what you do, not what you say or think or feel. If you work a lot of hours, then work and financial security are probably values for you. If you engage in all sorts of online debates and always want the latest gossip, then drama has a high value for you. If you exercise a lot, health or how you look is of high value. What we do makes it clear what we really value. We naturally give our time, money, and energy to what we truly value most. So I drive an old car. Now, I would love to travel and also be able to drive a new car, but my bank account tells me that's just not possible. I've only got so much income and so much money, and this is the challenge we all eventually face. We are limited. We only have so much time, money, and energy. And because we're limited, we're forced to figure out what is truly of highest value at some point. Not every value can have equal value. If everything has the same value, nothing has value. You can be certain that if you are trying to give everything equal value, you will experience lots of anger and anxiety. You'll also get really tired. There needs to be a hierarchy of values. Some things have to be more important than others. And sometimes things that are of lesser importance will have to be pulled out of your pack and left behind. Sometimes we have to sacrifice good things to give our best to the best things. The right sacrifice. The first time we read about anger in the Bible is also the first time we read about sacrifice. Cain and his brother Abel bring an offering, a sacrifice to God, but for some reason God rejects Cain's offering. Cain gets angry. God asks him, "Why are you angry? Why is your face fallen? If you do well, will you not be accepted? And if you do not do well, sin is crouching at the door. Its desire is contrary to you, but you must rule over it. The word translated sin, chata, C-H-A-T-A, in this verse, comes from an archery term that means to miss the mark. God basically tells Cain that he aimed wrong. He missed it. He had the wrong goal. God didn't value what Cain valued, so his sacrifice didn't count. There are wrong sacrifices. I talk to people all the time who realize too late that they sacrificed their marriage for their career. Hospitals are filled with people who sacrifice their health for the sake of pleasure and convenience. Lots of people sacrifice their long-term relationship with their kids, all in the name of providing financial security for them. They spend hours away from their families to provide them with money, but what the family really wants is their presence. Here's the really hard pill to swallow. You can live a morally upright life, be faithful to your wife, pay your taxes, provide for your family. But if you value the wrong things, you can actually end up feeling the same negative results as actual sin, remorse, and regret. A pastor recently shared with me that he was angry and resented his wife for leaving him. He humbly bragged about how he had been faithful to her, prayed for her, and loved her. He made lots of sacrifices to be in the ministry. He was angry at his spouse and kids for not being supportive of the call on him. His wife was angry too. She said he put ministry to others ahead of caring for his own family. After some soul searching, he admitted that he had sacrificed his family for the affirmation he got from always being available to his church. He made a lot of sacrifices for ministry, but he sacrificed the wrong things. It's possible to be very sincere and loyal to those you love, but still make the wrong sacrifice. You can aim wrong. You have to keep a constant eye on what is really being sacrificed. What makes this even more challenging is the fact that values are a moving target. In the next chapter, we'll see that some values don't change, but lots of them have to be adjusted based on what season of life you're in. When seasons change, you get married, have kids, change jobs, make transitions, kids leave the house, you will need to make some changes to your value structure. If you're still doggedly pursuing goals that you set for yourself in your teens, 20s, or 30s without making adjustments for new values that have appeared since then, like kids and a spouse, there's a good chance some of your values that arrived more recently on the scene may be suffering because of it. Some values should change with new seasons. So how do you know if a value needs to change? Great question. Fortunately, there's a pretty simple sign that your values may need to be adjusted. You just have to go back and with your friends. Anger and frustration in yourself or those around you is a good sign that some values might need adjustment. It's a sign that you may need to change some priorities to make sure you're only carrying what you really need for this phase of your journey. So get honest about where you are in life. Is there an issue that is constantly a point of contention in your home or work? Is there something that is always igniting anger in you or those around you? Is it possible that something you truly value is unintentionally getting less time, energy, or money than it deserves? What do your actions show that you really value? I'd encourage you to take some time to compare what you say you value and what your actions say you value. If you've never thought through what you really value, consider writing it out. Slow down and define what you really value. Writing it down can help relieve the tension. After looking at your life and evaluating what you've been carrying in your backpack, you may decide you need to leave a few things behind. Letting some things go isn't failure, it's actually success. It may be hard, but I'm pretty sure you won't regret lightening your load. A traveler is happier the lighter his or her load, which is why it's so important to get really clear about where you want to go and what you value. Something always has to be sacrificed to make room for what's most important. Knowing exactly what to sacrifice means you need to prioritize. And then the next chapter is called Prioritize. Hope that's been encouraging you this morning. And again, it's from the book Love Slows Down, available in just a few days anywhere books are sold.